Yeah, that was possibly the most painful race to watch, Cravone's, where he didn't have the safety save. And had to wait for me to send one on Discord for him.
Yeah, you were truly the MVP that time.
I'm just glad he got to finish the race at least. I mean,
Definitely.
He had so much swag there. It was awesome.
Yeah, he did. And Squadala, they're off. And Spiraster having a little bit of a hiccup with his D-pad, it looks like, but both of them grabbing the shield and will be on their way down to the beach to get the sword. Alright, you're going to see both of them pushing up against walls and seemingly clipping into them. That's actually a technique called wall clipping. If you push up against the corner, Link will actually clip 1 to 3 pixels into it, which allows for both fine movement optimization and also a bunch of tricks and skips you'll be seeing throughout the run. So stay tuned for those. We'll be mentioning them as they come up, and they come hard and fast.
They both tried to do a trick there called Early Sword, where you damage boost off the Urchin, and you get the sword during the dialogue from the owl, but they both messed up a little bit, but they still get it pretty quickly. Also, I just want to comment, on their way down, both of them got hit by the Octorok. It's a 1 in 4 chance for the Octorok to go right when they were coming down, and both of them went right.
I call shenanigans on 1 in 4. It sort of happens to me 3 out of 4 times. But no, the takeaway from that is definitely that this game, despite the fact there's a lot of tricks that are pure skill, there is plenty of RNG that can totally cause you small time losses throughout the game, and in some cases, big time losses, particularly for a really important skip coming up here in a moment in the Mysterious Woods.
And it's worth knowing that the bushes that Final Flame just slashed, all 3 of them are guaranteed to have hearts, so he grabbed one of those just to be safe coming up, to make sure he doesn't die in the forest or on his way back.
Yes, indeed, because he actually is going to need to lose some health for that skip I mentioned. We're basically skipping an entire sequence involving going to get magic powder and then putting it on Talon to turn him from a raccoon back into a person. Trust me, it makes sense in context. Instead, we're just going to go around it by using a Moblin to damage boost over a pit. But it's definitely dependent on whether or not the Moblin is cooperative. We're seeing Spiraster having a very uncooperative Moblin. They both need him to face up, and then bump... Oh, Final Flame's getting it, and he gets it.
That was very quick for him.
Spiraster not far behind. Oh, Final Flame also getting the setup for the Owl skip. Oh, Spiraster not getting it, though, so Final Flame is skipping that entire Owl dialogue, while Spiraster has to sit around and listen.
No, that's a frame-perfect input, and if you open any menu of frame after opening the chest, you can cancel the Owl's die. Or not cancel it, but you can leave the screen before he appears.
Yes,
I think
indeed.
it saves about 6-7 seconds.
Yeah, the Owl is definitely not fast at talking or moving.
So right now is the most RNG-heavy portion of the game, where you have to try to win the magic powder here from the trendy game.
Yes, indeed. So hold your breath and see if they get it first try, or if we're going to have a second try trendy. Haven't had one of those in a while. Oh! Oh, I thought Spiraster might have gotten it a bit too early there, but he got it. And what better way to celebrate winning at gambling than by stealing? So they're both on their way to the shop to steal a couple of very important items.
They'll both need to steal the shovel and the bow, since they cost 200 and 980 respectively, and it's just way too slow to get the rupees. Luckily this game lets you steal. It just renames you to Thief. We'll also be buying 2 sets of bombs, which we have the rupees for thanks to that cave we passed through earlier. Final Flame used a little text skip there by opening his save and quit menu. He doesn't have to actually talk to the shopkeeper, but he still buys the items.
Yeah, just because this category is no save and quit does not mean we can't use the save and quit menu for other things. We use it for text skipping frequently.
And some other nifty tricks.
Oh, most definitely.
Don't want to spoil too much, though. Final Flame actually has a pretty good time coming out of there. And right here, he's getting a few kills that seem sort of arbitrary, but it comes into play with something called Piece of Power later in the run. And we'll talk a bit more about that when we get towards Dungeon 2.
Yes, but you will see them both killing and skipping very particular enemies in order to have a certain kill count. And with that, both of them into Dungeon 1, Tail Cave.
So I like to think of Dungeon 1 as having two parts. The part where you go to get the feather, and then the part where you have the feather. Because once you get Rock's feather and you can jump, the game just breaks wide open. Almost immediately after they grab it, you'll see some tricks that skip heavy portions of the dungeon.
No, yeah, the game... Oh, Final Flame getting trolled by the mini... whatever the heck those things are called, I never remember.
I just call them assholes.
Accurate. But no, the movement and everything about the way this game plays changes dramatically once you get the Rock's Feather. It's actually pretty smashing of Nintendo to give us this item in the very first dungeon. It is by far one of the most broken items in the game.
And also just to note, there are a lot of menuings in this game for your items. I think I heard Kransoon say there's something like 140 in a run, which wouldn't surprise me, but everyone has a different route for their menu because your items can actually swap spots. And how well they can optimize that largely affects their time overall.
Yeah, because as you can see, pulling up the menu and closing it does take time, so everyone who runs has a way that works for them to optimally use it, go to the menu as little as possible, and switch items as little as possible. And, but holy cow, what in the world are they doing, jumping off walls?
They must think they're playing some Tony Hawk game.
This is kickflip to Christ air, let's go.
So, they did a trick called super jumping, which Final Flame just did there again. You do a clip into the wall, and you make yourself face away from the wall while you're jumping, and it sort of just tricks the game into thinking you've gone off a ledge. And that works on just about every dungeon wall. Not the corner tiles, but the walls. And I think like 2 or 3 spots on the overworld. So it's not too useful there, but it makes dungeons so much faster in this game.
Oh no, Final Flame! Taking a death to Moldorm. Moldorm is actually a surprisingly challenging boss to the first dungeon. Touching him does 1 heart of damage, and he can knock you into the pit below, which anyone who's played Link to the Past knows how annoying that is.
Yeah, a lot of people say that Moldorm is the hardest boss in the game, and they give him to you right away. Which is, from a speedrunning perspective, kind of nice, because you can reset 8 minutes into the run instead of an hour.
And unfortunately for Final Flame, that loses him a bit of time, but more importantly, it actually resets his kill count, which for Piece of Power routing will screw it up for the rest of the game, so hopefully he can... Hopefully you'll be seeing him probably kill extra enemies along the way to try to offset it, or maybe just abandon Piece of Power in Dungeon 2 entirely and just try to set it up for Dungeon 5. I don't know, we'll see what he does.
I think we're gonna see him trying to kill every enemy he comes past in the forest, just in hopes of getting it in D2.
Yeah.
It's less important in Dungeon 2, but Dungeon 5 being the longest dungeon in the game, it's a lot more important because Piece of Power makes you move faster, also increases your damage and adds knockback to your sword. So it's very important to get that extra speed in the longest dungeon.
Yeah, because the unfortunate thing about Piece of Power is that there's really 2 ways you can lose it. Either enter or leave a cave or dungeon, or take 3 hits. So we need it to drop in the dungeon. If it drops right outside the dungeon, it's of no use to us. So that's why counting and getting that kill count where you want it is so important.
And I don't think we mentioned, but you get it every 30 kills. So you do have to rack up quite a few kills in order to get it.
Yeah, but thankfully we have a very clearly marked starting point, which is the oh no, Final Flame!
So that's the sort of sister item to Piece of Power, the Guardian Acorn. It reduces the damage you take for 3 hits, and it drops every 12 kills without taking damage. Luckily, it can't block Piece of Power from dropping, like just by being there. But if you have it, Piece of Power cannot drop, so if he for some reason ends up getting it in a dungeon, you'll probably see him take some hits of damage to get rid of the acorn effect.
Yes, but Spiraster should, if he timed it correctly, should get it right there. Perfect. So now you'll see him both move faster, and his attacks are stronger, in fact. Normal Sword Slash now does as much damage as a spin attack.
And just to respond to Talia in chat, most players, to my knowledge, don't actually keep a count after D5. They sort of just pray and like try to get extra kills where they can. Because after you have, I think, 7 hearts, it takes 35 kills to get it. So you have to get a few extra kills. So they basically go for whatever they can and hope that it shows up.
Actually, by my understanding, it's almost one of those things where you really only count before Dungeon 2, because especially once you hit Dungeon 3, the number of enemies you kill is pretty much so clearly defined in just the route itself that Piece of Power just kind of drops in the dungeon, unless Bow Wow is feeling extra hungry.
I think people do count also leading up to D3 because Bow Wow can eat some stuff on the way there.
Yeah.
So you might have to rack up a few extra kills early D3 to make sure it shows up in the right place.
Yep, but that's actually one of the other ongoing bits of RNG in the game. Bow Wow, who both runners picked up and used to get into Dungeon 2 in the first place, we don't actually return him after D2 like the game intends us to. We keep him for the rest of the game, which allows us to do a couple of pretty cool skips later, but also adds randomness because Bow Wow may or may not eat a bunch of enemies, which affect kill count, because Bow eating an enemy does add to that kill count.
And there's also another trick in the game we use where just by having Bow Wow, it is possible to soft lock. But hopefully that doesn't happen to anybody. It's a real shame whenever it happens.
Hopefully not.
So that mini-boss that Finalflame just killed, he'd normally take 4 slashes with Piece of Power, but since he doesn't have it, he used arrows, and that's only 2 shots.
Yeah, the bow and arrow is the game considers it a late game item. You're not supposed to have that much money early on, so having it this early makes it actually an extremely powerful weapon.
Also, Spiraster doing the genie in the bottle. Normally you have to throw the bottle against the wall 2 or 3 times, depending on what region the game's from. But if you wall clip and throw him into the corner there, it just breaks it instantly. And then a quick 2 bombs finishes him off.
Yep.
Super clean fight.
Thankfully, one of the perks of having arrows is if you push a bomb and arrow within 4 frames, you actually have a bomb arrow. It just shoots the arrow with the bomb attached, which makes it explode the moment it hits something, which allows us to hit that second bomb on the boss before it starts doing its teleport cycle, which wastes a few seconds, so that definitely makes that quick kill possible. Oh god, the Pole's voice, giving Finalflame a hard time.
Yep. And you also notice that Finalflame didn't grab Piece of Power there, just because the amount of walking time he had left in the dungeon, it wouldn't be worth it to grab, because he'd have to bring up a menu, which takes a couple seconds.
Yeah, that's the thing about Piece of Power. In some cases, you want to drop early, but if it drops too late in a dungeon and you get your count off because of a death or something, you'll often see runners just not get it for that very reason. But Spiraster is on his way now to one of the first major skips of the game, and one that also has a little bit of RNG involved because it involves taking advantage of the way pit physics work.
Yeah, some people refer to this as the biggest RNG, non-RNG part of the game. Basically, the game has a global frame counter, and only on certain frames can you drop into this pit, which is what we need to happen. And we're buffering 1 frame at a time until we got the sound we just heard on Spiraster's screen. And that sort of just pushes you down a little bit so you can transition there. But unless you get the right frame, it can take like 20-30 buffers if you're really unlucky.
Ooh, Spiraster had to be careful though, because the game that looks like a leaf on your screen, because the game actually wants you to go do a long side quest involving getting golden leaves, but it's actually the slime key. The problem is though, if you're not careful and screen transition when you land, which he almost did, the game actually treats it as a leaf, and at that point you can't get the slime key with the skip. Now Final Flame on his way to do the Villa Skip as well, and Spiraster already heading into D3. Oh, getting that chain reaction kill in that first room. Thankfully, D3 has a lot of enemies that are quick to kill, so if your piece of power count is off, this is actually a very good spot to get that count back on track.
Yeah, in fact, Spiraster killing that bat there, the way he did it, it counts as a kill. There's another way he could have done a super jump there where the bat wouldn't have counted, but he wanted that extra kill to try to get a piece of power in the right spot.
Yep, which should be this room he's in right now. Just like that.
Perfect.
Oh, Final Flame getting through that buffer jump there. Seems he got it a bit faster than Spiraster.
And Spiraster just did a trick where you do a sword slash off of the dungeon mini-boss in order to skip a portion of it. He's gonna have to do it again, but each time he does it, there is a chance that he actually lands in the rock, and he would have to save and quit to get out of that. That's not allowed in this normal route, but for tournament rules, if it happens to somebody, we allow them to do that and return to the room they save and quit from to continue. But luckily, no soft locks.
Yeah. That's actually when the hardest part about that trick is actually getting good at doing it quickly, because it's dependent on the positioning of the Dodongo snake. So if you take too long to set it up, that's usually where you get that soft lock, because you don't bounce as far off the spin attack. And that's actually what happened to me the one time I soft lock on that. Piece of power definitely helps.
And Spiraster doing the boss of this dungeon, Vitriolus or something like that?
Vitreous, maybe?
Yeah, I just call it Slime Eye. Oh. Looked like he messed up a little bit there. But that was mostly a clean fight. You just have to split the eye and then slash the two parts twice. It's a lot nicer with Piece of Power because you do double damage. Otherwise, you might have to spin slash and feather to jump to prevent stun.
Yeah, and Vitreous definitely can hurt you more than you think. That's one of the things about this game, is that runners who play cleanly make it look easy, but these bosses and enemies do a surprising amount of damage. Oh no, Final Flame! Oh no! He was a little bit out of position and he landed in the block, so he's gonna have to take a save and quit.
To be, like, optimistic, at least that might put his Piece of Power kill count back on track for D5.
Yeah. He's not gonna have to worry about Bow Wow getting extra hungry or anything.
Meanwhile, Spiraster is heading on towards the trick mentioned before, where he has a possibility to softlock. The trick is called Walrus Skip, and it uses a glitch called Bomb Triggers, where we basically use the way bombs work to trigger events somehow. No one really knows how it works, but it works.
I'm still willing to bet it has something to do with memory overflow. But the gist of it is basically the game does not want you to have more than one bomb on the screen at a time. But by using screen transitions or pits, where you can drop multiple bombs, if you drop 2 bombs within 4 frames, the game kind of flips out and activates an event on whatever screen you're on. And for example, in this case, the whole thing about going to go get Mare, bringing her back here, and her singing to wake up the walrus is an event. But that takes forever, so we just use bombs. But the problem is, if you don't, you have to get off the screen between that text box you saw and before the rabbit appears, which is a very precise window. If you're too early or too late, you're stuck. You can't even save and quit. You have to power cycle to regain control.
Right now, Spiraster's buttons are locked until he enters this cave, which is why he has to do so he can do literally anything now.
And that was Lanmolas, Master of Invisibility. Actually, no, this game just has a bad habit of making hitboxes appear before you can see enemies. So 2 arrows, Lanmolas is gone, we got the D4 key.
I think the game just doesn't like us seeing Lanmola. I mean, there's even like the reprise of Lanmola during the final boss, and we see it for a frame.
I still say that's not actually a phase because we never actually see it. But with that, Spiraster on his way to open D4, at least we hope. Don't forget to open D4, Spiraster, please.
Shots fired at yourself.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
All the other commentators were joking about forgetting to open up D4, and then Crunchy was unfortunately the first one to do so.
I prefer to think of it as being the one to take the hit for the team so no one else has to.
You're so thoughtful.
I try.
So it looked like Finalflame had a sort of messy vitriol whatever fight, since he didn't have Piece of Power. But at least he made it through without dying, which is what's important.
Yeah. No, Piece of Power is one of those things where you never appreciate how much easier it makes certain things until you don't have it for one reason or another. But the good news is... Oh.
No, I was just gonna say, conversely, there's some times where people actually don't want Piece of Power, which we'll be seeing in D5.
Yes, indeed. And there he is, the happiest fish door of all.
Fun fact, that room with the dungeon door, actually, it exists as two different rooms in the game. There's a version with it closed and one with it open. If you somehow manage to open the door and then go right into it, you would not end up in D4, you just end up, I don't even know where. Something called a wrong warp, where the warp data hasn't actually been loaded yet. And glitches like that are not allowed in this category.
Yes, indeed. If you go through a door or stairs or whatever, you have to go where it intends. And we didn't mention it, but Spiraster there getting the most important trick of the run, well, the second most important trick of the run, the obstacle skip, which saves, what, half a second and loses you 4 if you fall?
I think it loses 2.
Oh.
But yeah, people have said, like, about, like, several months ago, back when we still did D8 before D7, you go past there 3 times. If you miss only one of those obstacle skips, you can lose more time than all 3 of them together would save. So it's just completely not worth it, because it's a 2 or 3 pixel window.
Yep, but everyone goes for it every time, just something we do. Oh, Spiraster getting dumb jump number 1 on the first try. Good on him.
I'm gonna be real, I call it easy jump 1. It's actually a lot easier with boots as he's doing it.
I can barely do it with or without boots. Most of the time I end up using a bomb arrow.
And this is Cue Ball. He's not too hard as long as you get your sword slash timing down. Just 4 spin slashes and he's gone. So Spiraster has been trying to get correct kill count going into E5 for Piece of Power, and if that kill count had, like, ended up with Piece of Power on Cue Ball, it would actually just disappear there, and his kill count would be reset to 0. So hopefully that didn't happen, but we have no way of knowing until he gets to D5 and doesn't get Piece of Power.
Yeah, well, his Bow Wow doesn't seem to have been quite as hungry as I've seen other Bow Wows be. Oh, I say that as Bow Wow eats... Wait, 2 things. So...
Alright, we're still safe, though.
Yeah, at least we hope so. But it's important to mention, though, Spiraster just grabbed the D4 item and left. Didn't finish the dungeon, but there's actually a very important reason for that.
Yeah, there's a really fun side quest. It's fun casually, but it takes too long in the speedrun, and by finishing that dungeon and leaving, we're bombarded with text by a ghost, and he actually won't let you enter other dungeons until you take him home and into his grave. So by leaving D4 early, we avoid getting that until we pick up a piece of the level 2 power bracelet in D6, which for some reason is the trigger for the side quest to not happen. Try to figure that one out.
Not sure, but what I am sure of is that Spiraster got that D5 piece of power exactly where he wanted it.
Yeah, unfortunately I saw on Finalflame's screen, he just had piece of power drop a few screens ago.
Yeah.
So he may end up with a late D5 piece of power, or he may opt to not grab it when it drops.
I don't know, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But the reason why you want to get Piece of Power in D5 is there's actually two reasons. One, D5 is the longest dungeon. And two, there's a trick very late on in the dungeon, Dumb Jump 2 we call it, where Piece of Power... I'm sorry?
Easy Jump 2.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry, Spice Father, we can't all be as good at those jumps as you are.
But anyway, yeah, there's another jump later in the dungeon, which is a bit easier with Piece of Power, just because it allows you to line up nicer.
Yeah, but the reason D5 is so long is because of this dork here, Master Stalfos. There's 4 rooms throughout the dungeon where you have to fight him before he'll finally cough up the hookshot, but the problem is, you have to go to them in the order he wants, not the order that would be fastest, so we have to do a lot of backtracking to the corners of the dungeon in order to do it.
Yeah, the chest that Spiraster just passed, it's supposed to have the hookshot in it, but the Master Stalfos is just such an arse that he leaves a note in there saying, "Neener, I took it away, you're going to have to beat me if you want it." So...
And then signs it with a picture of his face.
Yep.
So, which means that you have to get the Piece of Power early, then use it to get all over the dungeon. But remember, like I said before, 3 hits and you lose it, so... In a dungeon like this, it's very easy to take hits, so you're going to be seeing them be careful with it.
Yeah, I already saw Spiraster take 1 hit in the, crystal room with all the Stalfoses.
Yes, he did.
So he can only take 2 more hits before he loses it.
Yeah, so he might opt to do 1 damage boost in the upcoming underwater section. If he had all the hits, a lot of folks will often take 2 damage boosts, and then take the 3rd hit right before the boss, because like Spice Father said, this is the dungeon where you don't want Piece of Power for the boss.
Yeah, Piece of Power introduces a bit of, invulnerability for a moment on any enemy you hit. So for a boss that has a lot of health, like, that actually matters because you have to wait for, I think, 1.5 seconds before you can hit it again. So you either have to time things really nicely or get rid of Piece of Power and just slash away.
Yes, indeed. Oh, I think Finalflame might be actually trying to split those enemies up into the double... Okay, I thought I was going to try to do it for both to get extra kill count. So you kill the single with a spin slash, it only counts as 1 enemy, but if you split it up into 2 small ones first, it counts as 2.
So now Spiraster is on his way to the final encounter with Master Stalfos, where he'll finally get the hookshot.
Ooh, getting a cooperative Helmasaur in that room, too.
Yeah, for the Helmasaurs, you have to be facing the same direction as they are, whether it's a normal slash or a spin slash. So even though he was above it, because he was facing up and so was the Helmasaur, it still worked. And right now Spiraster is a good deal ahead. He's maybe like 3/4 of the way through this dungeon, while Finalflame is just about to enter it.
Yes, indeed. Dungeon 5, like we said, is the longest dungeon, even with Piece of Power.
Even with how much we break it already.
Yeah. Oh, and in case you're wondering, some people ask this sometimes. Bomb arrows, even though they let you explode instantly, you can actually get 3 hits on you can actually get an extra hit on Master Stalfos in any of those boss fights, and he will have a kill animation if you do. But if you do that, he doesn't actually drop the hookshot early, he just drops an extra dungeon key, so there's no point in doing that. We can't force him to drop the hookshot early that way, sadly.
Yeah, there is actually a weird glitch where, in this room that the Finalflame's in, after the small key drops, if you have the boomerang, you can pull a small key through the door transition to the left into Master Stalfos' 4th room, and it will actually turn into the hookshot. I don't know all the specifics of it, but I assume people don't do it because it's just way too slow to get the boomerang.
Yeah.
It's at the end of the trade sequence.
Yep. What hopefully isn't slow though? That's the wallworm fight Spiraster's got here. He said we don't. That's why we don't want Piece of Power, because we actually have a very tight window to hit him. Try to hit him 4 times when you pull him out. But if you have that invulnerability from Piece of Power, you can't. And Spiraster, unfortunately, having a little bit of trouble here, but gets him in 3 phases, which is not bad. You ideally want to get him in 2 phases, but 3 is nothing to complain about.
Yeah, it looked like he accidentally sword slashed instead of doing hook shot.
And then he tinked off him.
He forgot that sword goes on A, everything else goes on B.
Excuse you, I put sword on B.
Oh, sword on band.
I'm pretty sure that if we were to combine all the things I've supposedly been banned from LADX for doing, I have enough to have the entire community banned as well.
Yeah, we'd have no runners, it'd be great.
That's the secret. This whole thing is actually the underground LADX community because we're all banned from the real one.
So anyway, Spiraster is now on his way to D6. Along the way, he has to get the dungeon key though, so he'll be heading to the southern phase shrine.
Or the Armos maze as we call it. Armos maze.
If you were playing the game casually, you'd see a bit of plot here. Also, if you spoke Japanese or could read Japanese, you'd understand slang here. And then in the southern shrine, you'd learn a bit more about the lore of the world. But we kind of skipped that.
Yeah, the southern phase shrine is actually where you learn the big twist that the island is actually a dream. I'm pretty sure at this point, it's been almost 20 years since LADX came out, so yeah. But no, Armos maze is a little bit annoying because you can knock Armos out of the way with a shield, but touching an Armos that activates does, what, 2.5 hearts of damage? It hurts.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. Luckily, Bow Wow was nice enough to eat some of them, and everyone he eats is a free arrow, guaranteed. Unless it's Piece of Power.
Right. And in this game, arrow count is pretty important, so this is actually a great time to pick up extra arrows if your count is a little bit low.
A super clean bootstrats fight from Spiraster on that guy. I'm not sure how Finalflame will end up fighting because he's less experienced in bootstrats. It does take some pretty good timing to get the first hit.
I'd expect him to use feather strats, which are safer and not honestly that much slower. Because the thing about that guy is when he jumps, he stuns you, and when he touches you, he does, again, 2.5 hearts of damage, and he's always on top of you if you let him.
Yeah, I'd like to see shovel strats, though. If you do a dash with sword out, and then switch your boots to shovel while you're dashing, and buffer it out of the menu, you'll actually just run in place with your sword out. So it has the same effects of like a normal dash, except you don't move. So he'll just keep running into your sword forever and kill himself for you. Unfortunately, it's slower because you have to do an extra menu, and you also have to wait for him to come towards you.
Yes, indeed. Although, so remember we talked about how Bao was going to be useful later? Well, take a look what happens on Spiraster's screen there, and oh my goodness, he left before the dungeon opened, but it's open anyway!
Yeah, Bow Wow is, he's just a magical beast, and he can actually eat cutscenes, because they, for some reason, actually manifest as a sprite in the game, and that allows Bow Wow to eat them. Again, we don't really know why, it works, so we'll do it.
I get the feeling the programmers took a couple of little shortcuts with memory locations, expecting if we put this here, no one's going to reasonably put something else there, but then we do it anyway because that's what we do. And lo and behold.
And so right here, Spiraster is getting the level 2 power bracelet. So as mentioned before, that allows him to finish D4 without getting the side quest. So we'll see him going back to D4 after this one.
Yeah, but not before having to deal with a couple of interesting things here in D6. First of all, he's going to take advantage of one of the weird things the hookshot does in order to become completely invincible here.
Yeah, so you may not have seen, but he shot the hookshot at that pot while he was right next to it, and that makes him invincible for the rest of the room. Or until he uses hookshot again.
Alright. Oh, Finalflame setting up to do the wall worm. Hopefully he can get himself a 2-phase here, gain some time back. Oh, getting the worst possible positioning. opposite. Oh gosh, he's just getting bad wall when positioning. Spirits are setting up for some super jumps here in order to get up to where the dungeon boss key is early. Just like that.
So unfortunately no piece of power in D6 for Spiraster, but that's alright. The real killer in D6 is the horse head puzzle. Puzzle in quotation marks, because you basically just have to throw a couple of, like, chess horse head pieces until they both stand upright. It's pure RNG, and it can take you, I don't know, I think the world record is like 15 tries.
It's pretty easy to go into double digits if you're not careful, but we'll see how it goes for him. Meanwhile, Final Flame finishing up D5, so he's going to be on his way to the Armos Maze as well. And depending on Horsehead luck, maybe Spiraster will still be in this room when he finishes, who knows? Okay, there we go.
I think that was 4 tries.
Yeah, it looked like it. Well, yeah, with that, Spiraster's actually already on his way to the D6 boss. Just has a couple more rooms to pass through, and then we're gonna have some more fun with hitboxes before you can see the enemy.
Yeah, you're gonna see him go in and just, he's just gonna put bombs on the floor. And it's gonna look like a waste, but he's actually damaging the boss before he appears.
Yep. You can actually hear the sound that a boss makes when you hit him, too.
Yeah, this is the level of excellent programming in Link's Awakening DX. So after that, it's just 2 more bombs to the face, and if you time it nicely, you can get your bombs to explode just as he appears.
Yep, 5 bombs and 3 before he even starts talking. To be fair, Facade, the name of this boss, if you get careless, can kill you, because those tiles and things flying around will do a heart of damage. So if you go in with low health, we have seen folks die to him, and it's just something that happens.
Yeah, there are actually 2 guaranteed hearts in the Horsehead room, the lower left and upper right pot, and I noticed that Spiraster actually avoided both of them.
Oh, your dream is coming true. We're getting shovel strats.
This is the good stuff, guys.
Yes! Yes!
Gave this man a world record.
Oh man, Spiraster getting one of the bomb triggers that saves you a little bit of time, skipping the owl animations on that screen right there. Man, shovel strats though, that's a treat. We don't get to see that too much.
That's such good stuff. Like, no one does it because it's just so much slower. But for someone who just needs to finish, right, you're happy to waste a little time to go for the swag.
Alright, but now Spiraster is going to be on his way to go back to D4 and finish it. And poor D4, not only do we split it in half, we skip so much of it just by using super jumps and other such dumb jumps to skip entire sections.
We also just use, like, a totally normal jump that the designers didn't realize. They didn't realize it was possible. You'll see it shortly, but it's such a no-brainer that you wonder that it's not just the intended way.
Oh yeah, the Brock's Feather was designed to let you jump over a single square pit, so we use a jump over 2 squares, and not even 2 squares in a straight line. We're talking 2 squares in diagonals, or like the way a knight moves on a chessboard, which is what we're about to do here. It's just like, how did they not test for this? Just like that.
You just jump right past the corner. And you don't even have to try, you just buffer up, left, and jump as you go through the screen transition, and it just happens.
Yep, and bomb arrows prove themselves to be one of the most broken weapons you can use by killing anglerfish in so fast text box doesn't even pop up.
We're not even gonna mention a certain somebody's fight with that guy. I think he's had a bit too much already.
It's been a weird tournament. We've had unusual deaths, unusual soft locks, and just all sorts of unusual things happening. But some bad news for Spiraster, though. Now that he's finished D4, he's on his way to what is, without a bit of irony, the most challenging trick in the entire run. The sort of trick that can kill your run, and if it doesn't, it'll waste you so much time. So here's hoping, because he's on his way to do the rooster skip.
So in a casual playthrough, you'd have an ocarina, and it can play different magical songs as usual. One of the songs is the Frog Song of Soul, I think. And it can actually resurrect dead things, including a magical flying rooster. So normally you'd have to get this rooster and use it to fly over a huge pit, but we exploit some magic with the hookshot to just jump over the pit. Unfortunately, it is a frame-perfect trick. You can also do it in a buffered manner that's a lot slower, but in both cases there's still plenty of stuff that can go wrong and waste you about 30 seconds.
Yeah, because, like Spy's father said, it's a frame-perfect trick, but that's actually only partially true. It's a frame-perfect trick you have to do twice. So you have to do that frame-perfect jump twice, and if you fail it, you're going to fall down a pit, and that pit drops you back out here where Spiraster is now, and to get back from here to the cave where the key is takes you 30 to 40 seconds depending on how good your movement is, so it's a huge time loss to mess it up.
So fingers crossed for Spiraster.
Yep, he's probably gonna... He wall clips into the left wall here, and then pulls out the hook shot. Here we go.
He's going the buffered method. Provided, like, no really bad stuff goes wrong, this is free. Like, there's a really nice visual cue for it where the hookshot head thing touches Link's nose.
Well, even then, it's not completely free, because depending on the subpixels, you might actually go around that frame you need for the map cue. So, it's mostly free, but it still could potentially go wrong even if you have the buffering strat down pat.
Yeah, like same as with Villa Skip we were mentioning earlier, there are frame rules for when you can actually fall into a pit. And if you jump and you just happen to get that right frame, you will just fall right in instantly before you can hookshot. And then also Bow Wow can get in the way of your hookshot and mess up your timing, which is always really fun.
Yeah. And in the most hilarious cases, you'll shoot your hookshot, but you'll still get the falling sound and fall even while the hookshot's flying. It's rare, but it happens. So the takeaway from that is, Rooster Skip is a very annoying trick that even if you do everything right, can still screw up.
Yeah, and then there are some people who just make it look so easy and free.
Oh my gosh, I think I almost fell out of my chair when TGH did it for 2 races in a row, first try, no buffering, 2 frame-perfect inputs.
Yeah, and Vlak did it, he did 3 jumps. All unbuffered, I think, like, 1 extra hookshot above what he needed.
3 times? Oh my god.
Well, because he doesn't do boot jump there, he just jumps straight up. He does a, like, jump right against the left wall.
Oh, that's right. He doesn't let the hookshot extend. He actually just spams it against the wall so it retracts very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we should talk about Dungeon 7, because this is Bomb Triggers the Dungeon.
Yeah, in the casual playthrough of Dungeon 7, you'd have to pick up a big iron ball, carry it around the dungeon, and smash these pillars with it, which takes, you know, a lot of time. But as it happens, you can just bomb trigger in the room, and it destroys the pillars for you. It saves just so very much time.
Yeah, but thankfully, due to the magic of bomb triggers, we trigger the events of the pillars breaking in all those rooms by either using the screen transitions or dropping bombs into a pit very quickly, and then just go straight up to the 4th floor. And we're not even done there, because we also actually skip the boss key entirely.
Unless you're Cravone.
Oh god. Oh, looks like Spiraster's going for the... Oh, he had good Goomba placement too.
Yeah, he pressed down too soon. So, right here you have to do what's called a naked super jump, where you, super jump without using your sword or anything. So that requires you to jump, and then while you're in the air, press against the wall and then away, all while facing up. Unfortunately, he pressed down before he did his jump there the first time. So it ruined his super jump.
And the worst thing about it is that it only works if the top Goomba moves to the right, so it's dependent on RNG again.
Yep. And it's also 1 pixel positioning in order to get far enough into the upper wall. You'll notice that he had to use his boots to get out of the wall, but that's not always necessary if you jump at the correct frame.
Meanwhile, that was a D7 boss, Evil Eagle. 3 bombs, it's dead, and we have really consistent visual cues for when to drop the bombs. So it's one of the easiest bosses, even with the bomb strats, which are more challenging than the old fire rod strats.
Yeah, as long as you just you buffer a bomb going in, and then you just spam your bomb button as soon as he leaves the screen, so you'll drop it and then throw it. It's pretty easy, like, once you know what to do.
Yeah, the only thing you really have to worry about is accidentally falling, because if you fall off the screen and climb back up, the Evil Eagle resets with full health unless you grab the heart container. Even if he's dead, if you don't grab the heart container and fall down, you gotta fight him again.
So we have Spiraster on his way to D8, while Finalflame has just finished up D4, and he's now on his way to Rooster Skip and then D7. Along the way, it's just a lot of movement at this point, really. We do skip Marin here. Normally we'd have to hookshot across there and grab her along the way, rescue her from the moblins, and it's like a 45-second dialogue, even with good mashing. And that's just way too slow, so we jump past her.
Which is unfortunate, but we have to make sacrifices in the for the sake of speed.
Yeah, that's like the equivalent of saving or killing the animals for this game, basically.
Yeah, kind of is.
Save or kill the best girl.
Spy's father knows what's up.
I have to, or else people will lynch me. And right there for Spiraster, normally you'd need the Dungeon 7 item, which is the level 2 shield, to allow you to block the flames, but as long as you're clipped into that wall, you can sort of just dash through the fire and only take 1 or 2 hits of damage.
Yeah, if you're not clipped into the wall, that flamethrower will actually knock you several blocks back, so you need to be clipped, otherwise that doesn't work.
And I just saw Finalflame got a piece of power drop in that obstacle skip room.
Oh no.
At this point in the run, if you get that in a dungeon, it's nice, but it's not gonna happen. So,
yeah,
like, if you can get it, cool. If not, that's what you expect.
Yeah, the further along you get, the harder it is to route for piece of power, and especially now that the kill count is 35 instead of 30. Okay, Finalflame, here we go. Let's get this Rooster Skip. I believe in you.
So he's also doing the buffered method. Because really, the unbuffered method is very hard.
No! The global frame rule got him! That's the thing I mentioned. He shot the hook shot out, but he took the fall anyway. It happens sometimes, and there's nothing you can do about it. It feels terrible.
Yeah, and as I said before, that's about a 30-second time loss.
Oh no, Finalflame, I'm so sorry. Meanwhile, Spiraster fighting Blano, who we have to fight because the new out-of-bounds rules don't allow us to skip them anymore.
I feel like those rules aren't even that new. There was a period where we'd just come up with some new rules for what was out of bounds, and those tiles in the bottom center of that chest room were found to be out of bounds, but some people just didn't know that, so they still did that trick, and their runs were accepted even though they had that in there.
Wait, where's Finalflame going? He just got the key. Okay, he realized he got the key and he's going back up. Finalflame, please.
I guess he's just used to failing too much.
Either maybe he got confused and decided to decide what he was going to D8, because the old route was to do D8 before D7.
I mean, to be fair, I know, like, back when I was learning, I would actually do Rooster Skip, and one time I went back, did Rooster Skip again to the room, and found, oh, the key's not here. Where's the key? What the hell?
Oh no. Spiraster, however, already almost done with D8, just has one last trick to do called a Jesus jump to be able to super jump to the boss door, and that's that.
Yeah, if you use your item menu to buffer the game until you splash on the water there, you can actually jump off the surface of water, or lava. So that actually gave him a wall clip there, and he was able to just jump over the lava to the final boss door.
Not having a very good first cycle there for Hothead. Let's see how he does. If he does better the second cycle. All right, 2 cycle, not bad. You know, Final Flame getting the D7 cutscene skip. Good for him.
Alright, very important thing coming up on Spiraster's screen.
And Wang
perfect.
boys.
Perfect. Run validated.
Yes, truly the most important trick of the run.
So anyway, so now Final Flame is heading through D7, and he'll be pretty much doing the same things that Spiraster did. You'll notice he kills that one green slime, because bomb triggers actually will not work if it's still on the screen. Something that some new runners don't realize, and they just go past without killing it.
Doing the unbuffered screen transition strats with the bombs there, so feeling a little bit chancy with that, but he seems to be pulling it off just fine.
Oh, that's rough for Spiraster. He's got the Guardian Acorn as he's picking up a rock.
But after this owl cutscene, God, this owl never shuts up. He just has one more bomb trigger to do, because again, no ocarina, so instead we have to let Link be the musician he always dreamed he could be, and put on a performance playing the bombs.
And then we get to watch the longest cutscene in the game, and then talk to the owl one more time.
Thankfully, that's probably the shortest owl cutscene, the one after the music.
We saw Final Flame there just grab 2 sets of bombs here. Probably just to be safe for D8 more than the Evil Eagle heal here.
Yeah, and he's also going for the more consistent but slightly slower strat of the P-Hat bonk there. You can super jump, bonk off the P-Hat, and you land on top of those pegs to get over here, which is more consistent than Goomba Skip, but has also the potential of getting knocked on the other side if you're not careful, which is a little bit annoying to recover from.
Yeah, you can actually do, if you hook shot into a pot while you're against the top wall, you can actually be clipped into the wall a little bit. And some newer players don't realize that, so they land in that section and they think they're just soft-locked and game over. But there is a recovery, which is nice.
Yeah.
And this maze that Spiraster is going through, it is normally generated randomly when you read a certain book in the library, but if you don't read the book, it's always the same directions.
And hey, go figure, we know what the directions are, so we just don't read the book. And I guess...
Oh, rough.
I don't think I've ever quite seen that set up for Blob Quick Kill. But it didn't quite work for him, so now he's gonna have to kill the blob the normal way by sprinkling powder on it.
Yeah, normally you try to position yourself so that your sword is, like, just barely touching the blob when it jumps there. Oh, and he's going for swag shovel strats. Oh, this is a real showcase run. We get both the shovel strats in one sitting.
The lowly shovel, used only on one screen one time, and we're getting some real action out of it today.
Your time to shine, little buddy. So normally, like, most people just use their sword to reflect these run balls, but you can also use shovel for some reason. The first 2 balls that Aghanim shoots are guaranteed to be reflectable, And then after that's a 50-50 chance. You need 4 total hits.
Yep. And unfortunately, unlike Link to the Past, there is no guaranteed maximum number of blue balls. Nightmare Agadem can just give them to you forever if he wants.
Yeah, the recorded record for it is 17.
Oh my god, that sounds terrible.
Oh. And some more shovel swag here.
So good.
We'll probably see Finalflame doing that the normal way when he gets there.
Yeah, and now if Spiraster does it right, we will not see Landmolus. Just like that, didn't see him. But now it's time for the final RNG gatekeeper at the end of the run, Deathel. We hate this guy.
Yeah, this guy's a complete knob. He'll spin his arms around, and if he actually likes you, he'll open his eye up a bit. Each time he opens, you can shoot 4 arrows into it, and you need 16 arrows to kill him.
Yeah, but the problem is getting 4 arrows is actually extremely tight timing. More often than not, you'll get 3 and then tank the 4th, just like that. And like Spice Father said, whether or not he opens his eye is a complete gamble. In fact, right now, he just doesn't want to.
Yep, I think he needs like 1.
Come on, you got this. And there it is.
So we have Spiraster's final time on SRL, and he's finished with 56 minutes and 27 seconds. Well ahead of the video.
Which looks like is a race PB for him by over a minute, so very nice.
Yeah, but not an actual PB though. His PB is 56.
56 flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. But still, absolutely a respectable race time. Within 30 seconds of his PB, nothing to sneeze at.
Very good. Especially with the level of RNG in this game.
Yeah.
Deathel was not being nice to him there. And he didn't have a good horse head either.
Finalflame actually not on a bad pace either.
No, this might actually be a... no, it won't. I was gonna say it'd be a PB for him, but he had to save and quit earlier.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
But even with that, though, his PB is, I want to say, a little bit under a 109. So
Yeah,
he's not playing. Despite the mistakes he's happening, everything else he's been playing well. So hopefully he'll have a strong finish. So maybe Spiraster might want to pop in and talk to us a bit. We'll see what happens with that. Maybe we can actually talk a little bit about the D8 tricks that we missed while Spiraster was plowing through it. Like over here we have a sideways block push. You push that block in the right spot when you're clipped into it, and the game just says, not sure what side you're on, we'll just let you push it anyway.
Yep. If you're actually not clipped, there is 1 pixel where you can push it from the side. And Finalflame was actually, I think, the one who found that out because he didn't know you had to clip. So he spent about 10 minutes just pushing.
Yeah. And thankfully there are 2 arrow pickups in D8 because... Oh!
Hello.
Hello, Spiraster. GG on your win.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations.
How do you feel about that run?
I mean, like, I'm glad I won. It was a good run, I guess, for a race. You know, it was a mid 56. But I mean, I can't help but notice just all the things that I did wrong in that run. You know.
Yeah.
I've been sort of chasing a PB for a while now, and obviously in a race setting, I'm just happy that I won the race. But I can't help but notice every time I do a run just how far off I am.
Well, we can't all be robots like TGH.
Well, yeah, TGH is a robot. So.
Yeah, it was, like, despite whatever mistakes there were, it was a very good run. I mean, you definitely got wanged by Villa Skip and Horseheads and Deathel. Like, all the big RNGs.
But you gained all the points back in our heart by using shovel strats.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah, I figure I'm probably the only person who's using shovel strats in the tournament. So.
I think Cravone did as well, but he's just the swag master. Like,
Yeah.
he does everything that's cool just because he knows he's not gonna win.
Oh, to his credit,
call-outs.
Finalflame did use shovel strats on Armos tonight, so we got some double shovel strats here today.
Oh, awesome. Okay.
I was really hyping it up when you were on your way to Armos, and then luckily Final Flame delivered.
Speaking of which, Final Flame on his way to do his own Jesus jump and then go take on Hothead, hopefully having some luck with Hothead. Hothead there's a certain amount of randomness to his health. We're still not entirely sure how his health is decided, but all we know is that sometimes you get the one cycle and sometimes you just can't, no matter how well you play.
Yeah, like, we understand the second half of the fight after he loses his shell, but this part, there are like 3 or 4 different timers that people are looking into, like, for when he's actually vulnerable, and we don't really understand it.
Well, that was like my Hothead fight. The first cycle was just awful, like I could barely hit him, and I still managed to get a 2 cycle somehow.
Ooh, Final Flame having it a bit rough, looks like a 4 cycle there.
We got some spoilers in the SRL chat from Final Flame.
Oh, and he gets the Wang, boys. Run validated. Well,
he's actually nice enough to not skip the dialogue too quickly, so we really get to see the Wang.
That was like a YOLO Wang, too.
Absolutely was. It was a swagtastic Wang. One of the finest I've ever seen in this tournament.
So now, he also is heading over to the egg, where he's gonna fight final boss. I think there were like a couple of things we didn't really mention. When Spiraster fell into the final pit towards the boss, he was spamming his bombs, and that does one last bomb trigger when a run where you actually skip the text from the boss, and it messes up the music. So hopefully Final Flame's able to get that as well. It is like a, I don't know, 20-second time save?
Yeah, it's a very long dialogue. The downside, of course, is we don't get the boss music, because the Nightmare boss music is one of my favorite tunes in this game, but it's a sacrifice we have to make for speed again.
Also for chat, the random letters on Spiraster's screen are because his stream is at 30 FPS, and all this credit text actually flickers between like 2 sets of letters due to the sprite limit.
Alright, Final Flame, meanwhile, serenading us once again with his beautiful bomb tunes. So we're listening. This is Spiraster. What felt especially good? What felt especially bad about that run? It looked pretty solid to me.
I mean, it was pretty solid. The start was bad. Like my forest exit, I got trolled a bit by Moblin and I missed Owl Skip, so that was kind of bad. But the rest of my start was good, all the way up to D1. D1 itself was good. I can't complain about Villa Skip too badly. I think it was like a 6 buffer or something like that, so that went alright. Actually, my D2 was really good up until I kept throwing pots around the last room there. Yeah, it looks like I had a good D3, except for I messed up the quick kill on the boss a bit. Oh, D5 was a roller coaster a bit. I had a bad start to D5 for some reason, and then it was going really, really well, and then I screwed up the boss quick kill there too, and cost me a lot of time. So that was too bad, because it was kind of both bad and good. Armos was good. I buffered Rooster Skip again, but luckily I didn't fall in the pit this race. So that was I was happy to see that.
Yeah, because Final Flame was doing buffer, and unfortunately he took a tumble because the global frame rules got him. The hook shot was out, and he still fell.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, and Final Flame actually has missed the bomb trigger on the boss here, and he doesn't know the backup pixel that you have to stand on, so he's just gonna YOLO it with Magic Powder and hope he doesn't run out. He missed the pickup in D2, so if he's like too trigger happy here, he can actually not be able to finish.
Liski's taking it safe, which I can't blame him. It's
with
3 magic powders, and he's not going to spam it trying to get the double hits.
Yeah, with that little magic powder, you definitely want to be safe.
And on the plus side, we get to hear the music.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, he must have done that on purpose for us, for Crunchy.
Aw, Final Flame. You're too good to me, man.
Unfortunately, we can't shave like 10 minutes off your time.
So he was saying he had a soft lock?
Yeah, he soft locked on Dodongo Skip.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, it really sucks because it messed up his piece of hardware the entire run.
Yeah.
When he's saying, I don't think he's soft locked in every run so far in the tournament, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That really sucks.
This tournament has definitely been a roller coaster for a lot of people. Goodness knows we never had a dull race, that much is certain.
and a few close ones too.
Oh, absolutely. We had multiple ones that have been within like 20 seconds of each other. A couple have been within 10, I think.
There was, I think, Final Flame and White Wolfos, or no.
Or was it Mighty Mouth and White Wolf?
Yeah, Mighty Mouth. They actually finished within 6 seconds of each other.
God, yeah, that one came down to Deathel. That one was a nail-biter.
They were pretty neck and neck the entire race. It was, I think that one and, who did, I think Black raced someone, and they were really close as well. But those were the top 2 races.
Oh my god! This blue ball RNG!
So he's getting killed by blue balls right now.
Oh no! What is this?
I think he's going for his own world record here.
Like, all you can do is laugh, because this is just so unfortunate.
He might hit double digits! Oh my god!
Okay, so Gravity Jedi says
So,
9.
For the record,
10
17
right
is the world record.
Oh. 10, we're in... Oh my god.
I think this is 11, because the chat's got a bit of delay.
Venus Hill, what's RNG about this is that every time he shoots, it's a 50-50 chance
12.
of being either the one you can bounce back or the one that you can't. So the fact that he's been getting this many in a row is horrendous odds. There we go.
Damn, only 12.
That's still really bad.
Yeah, terrible.
Oh no, he drops Moldorm. Oh no.
So for the Moldorm, they're doing it the correct way, as opposed to Spiraster's way. You just do a spin slash and then just keep slashing him. Depending on where you're standing, you can just mash as fast as you want, but because of where he was, he had to go a bit slow, and he ended up going too slowly.
Although TGH recently found a position that allows you to stand in like a somewhat specific spot, and you can mash as fast as you want. So that does make it the quick kill a lot easier.
Yeah, it's basically, when you slash, there are 2 sprites. There's the, like, sword straight out, and there's the, like, slashing animation. You have to have the slashing animation sprite be right over Moldorm. So you can actually be in several different spots, as long as that's right over him.
I'm a little bit worried here, because don't Deathel's arms do 3 hearts?
No, Deathel's arms do, I think, half a heart.
Yeah, his body's the killer.
His
Okay.
body does 1 heart.
But he's gotta be careful here, though, because he's at 3 hearts, which is pretty low, so if he gets a little bit sloppy dodging the arms and running into... Oh, the arm just did 1 whole heart there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh god,
Oh, no.
he's down to 1 heart. Please be careful. Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no, Final Flame. This is bad, because now he doesn't have enough arrows to fight Deathel anymore.
Oh yeah, he does.
Does he?
Yeah, he had 30 going in there.
Oh, okay, okay. But he's gonna have to play it super safe, though, because it takes 16 to kill him, and he's only got 18 left.
Yeah, he's probably just gonna go for maybe 2 or 3 per opening.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a lot slower, but as long as he finishes.
Yeah, absolutely.
If he does run out of arrows, he can actually do some damage with bombs, but the timing on it is nearly impossible because you have to predict when the eye opens.
Yeah, so... We haven't had anyone have to use bombs on Deathel yet, but he gets the bomb trigger this time to skip the text, so that's good. So let's see if he can get himself the blob quick kill.
Yeah, hopefully he does, because he only has, I think, 4 magic powder left. Perfect.
And he gets it. Nice. Alright, so hopefully... Here's hoping he gets better luck with Aghanim this time, please.
Does this count, like... Do we add the 2 together, please? Because he could definitely get 17.
No, please, no. That's just mean. Just let him finish.
Just finish. So there is actually,
Oh
like,
god, no.
a way to manipulate this if you're, like, a TAS. Your horizontal pixel affects whether or not it'll be a blue ball. Like, there's the RNG, and then your horizontal pixel. So if you know what the RNG is going to be, you can position yourself in the correct position to make sure it's a blue ball. but that's not really viable for real people.
Oh no. Actually, I had a long talk with Bamboo Shadow about that at GDQ, and he actually explained to me that he's actually working on a way to make it consistent in RTA. So
the way that I've seen from him so far is if he hits you with a blue ball while you're standing under him in the correct position, and then he goes back to the same spot, you can move exactly 1 pixel left or right, or like an odd number of pixels, and the next one will be guaranteed not blue ball. I think that's as far as he got for actually manipulating.
Yeah, he showed me, he demonstrated it, and it seems to work. So hopefully that's something that he can hammer out more cleanly. Because if so, being able to avoid getting blue balled constantly is just would be a godsend.
Right
I
there,
mean, we've tried a few times to figure out if we can manipulate Aghanim, but the problem is, unless like Spicefather said, unless he goes to his exact same spot twice in a row, it's really hard to know whether it took an odd amount of frames or an even amount of frames, and there's too many possible locations he could travel to really know for sure. Or for any player in RTA to be able to remember, oh right, I need to move or not move.
Yeah. I guess one of those things where if he happens to stay in the same spot 2 attacks in a row, it might save you a blue ball, which I guess might be enough, but it's not.
Yeah, that's very possible, and it's actually very handy. I've used it a couple times, and I know a few other runners have as well.
Oh, be careful! Oh no!
He doesn't have enough anymore.
Oh no! He had 2 4-arrow cycles, and then he just accidentally launched 3 arrows into the wall.
Yeah.
Oh boy!
He's his forfeit in SRL.
Oh no!
Bomb strats?
Oh no! Final Flame.
Oh, that's rough.
Oh gosh. Final Flame, I'm so sorry. Not like this. Oh. I actually feel really bad.
Yeah, that always sucks to see. My first run on stream, I had that happen. And then I was just like jumping around trying to survive, and people in chat are like, hey, you can use bombs. I'm like, okay, when?
Yeah, easy solution, just use bombs.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, just predict when the eye opens and get the bombs down there. Alright, Final Flame says he's not gonna hop in chat, which is understandable.
Yeah, understandable. Final Flame, I'm real sorry, dude. None of us wanted to see that. None of us wanted to see it end like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but apart from the soft lock in D3, it was a good run from him. And like, hopefully, I know he said that an hour 10 was his goal for PBs, and he surpassed that, but I hope he sticks around.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He's actually passed my PB. I gotta catch up to him, and then hopefully it'll back and forth a bit, because that's always pretty fun. Oh my goodness. That's a heartbreaker of a finish, though.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, with that, I guess we have Spiraster is the victor here, and that puts him at 2 wins for this round.
So he qualifies to move on then. Yep. Congratulations, Spiraster.
I qualify.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, the 4th person in their group, Krensoon, he's had to drop out due to other commitments. So.
Yeah, it's really too bad, because this was a really tight group, and I think it would have been cool to see all 4 players play it out. But yeah, unfortunately, Krensoon had to drop out of the tournament.
Yeah, he had to prioritize his Link to the Past rando.
Ooh, shots
no
fired.
comment.
No, it's fair, but yeah.
That was an unfortunate finish to the race, though. But if you do enjoy Link's Awakening DX, worry not, because we have another race for you later tonight at 9 p.m. And that one is going to be Alpha 5 versus Sikinar. That one's actually in my group.
No, that's tomorrow's or Sunday's.
Dang it, I read the wrong row because I'm bad at numbers. It's Mac versus Skyward Sam. Dang it. Ah! How can I be so bad at numbers and be an engineer? Oh my god.
Yeah, I think this is actually going to be Skyward Sam's first race of the tourney, so I have no idea what
Second,
to expect
actually.
from him.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm pretty sure
is
it's his second race.
Yes, he had one on this past Sunday versus Dragon CO.
Oh, of course, Sundays. That's the day I don't get any internet.
But that
Well,
should be a good race, though. So come back to this very channel at 9 p.m. and check that one out. That should be a good race.
Hopefully we'll have commentators by then.
Indeed. I'm not sure what I'll be doing, but if I'm free, I will definitely come back for that because I'm really enjoying this tournament, both as a participant before I got knocked out and and watching. So
Yeah, it's been a blast, both watching and being a part of it.
Definitely.
Like, just so many really close races. It's been amazing.
It's been a roller coaster. But in the meantime, starting here in about 13 minutes, we're going to have the next race in the Earthbound Boogie Percent tournament. And if that's not your thing, at 8 p.m. on Speed Gaming 2, we have an FF1 randomizer race. So all sorts of action happening on both Speed Gaming channels today. But like I said, 9 p.m., this very channel, more LADX. Otherwise, Spiraster, do you got any last words for us?
Nope, not really. I feel bad for Final Flame that his race didn't go too well, but I guess I'm happy to move on, and just want to shout out that anyone who isn't, while we've got a lot of people watching, if there is anyone who's interested in learning this run, maybe taking part in the tournament next year, or joining us in weekly races, feel free to join us on Discord, ask us any questions. We're all very helpful, and we'd love to have you.
Yeah, they can put up with me, don't worry, they'll put up with you too.
Yeah, we have a great community and everyone's super happy to help out. That's always nice to have new runners.
Yeah, the game is just as much fun to play as it is to watch, even when things don't go right. It's a hoot. That was an unintentional owl pun. I am so sorry.
Oh, you're dead to me.
I'm dead to myself.
Man, here we are trying to get the owl out of the game, and you're just trying to put him back in.
I'm so sorry. Oh god, I think I need a drink. But thanks. But anyways, right. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you back at 9 p.m. and in the meantime, get ready for some Boogie Percent.